So we're going to start this podcast today. Johnny Davis presents Word of Mouth, and we're doing this as a way to get a digital mouthpiece out in front of us, talking about the talented individuals that we work with on a daily basis, the networks that we build and that we are a part of, as well as the community of artists and creators and creatives. We're going to start the podcast with Johnny Davis himself on it, to kind of lead us into not just why we started the podcast, why this was an idea that you were very excited about, been very enthusiastic about for the better part of a year. But then I'd also like to take a moment and go back in time and say that this podcast is the latest evolution of your studio. Where did that entire concept come from? Like, what were some of the original ideas and concepts that led you to want to get into commercial work and then grow that into something that is as big as what we are, surrounded with now?
Well, and it's like you said initially, the podcast mainly was like our idea, trying to figure out how to give props back to the people that we work with and to call them out and show that everything they bring to the industry, and helping us to tell their story.
Okay.
So that was kind of, originally we were talking about doing the podcast to try to create interest in what we were doing and those kinds of things. But then it kind of evolved in not just talking about us, but talking about what everybody else is doing and being involved in what they're doing and bringing them to the forefront of the industry, whether it's design or furniture work or art or, whatever. So it really evolved into more than just staying within like our lane, I guess. We're doing a lot of other things and we want to highlight these people that we're doing them with. Right. Kind of growing the relationship and showing that, we're working with some incredible people and companies in the industry.
Right. So if we can jump off of that and talk about the networks and those circles that we are working in, if we have an example of sort of like the kind of conversation that we're trying to have with somebody, if we invite them in, what is that representing? Are we doing this? We're not monetarily gaining anything from this podcast. This is strictly just a creative way to reach the people that we work with and those that we want to work with.
Right. It's building relationships. And, what I've tried to really build this company off of is collaborating with everyone, even other photographers, other retouchers. And because as a community, we should work together and we should promote other companies that we believe in and want to work with. So for us, monetarily, it's basically something we're wanting to do to show appreciation to the people we're working with, but then to build those relationships and say, hey, we're doing these kinds of things. And then as they're in-house, building those relationships, the work and stuff like that will come as a byproduct.
Right. Yes. No, I like that. And I think that's when you and I first kind of started discussing the idea of doing this, it was the idea that like, these are conversations that we are having with these people on a daily basis. And most of the time, me coming into the industry far after you had already been kind of established in it, you would tell me stories of these same people. You would say, well, you know what they did back here and they did this and they revolutionized this side of it. And, I've known them for 10 years. And everybody has these stories, these kind of tremendous stories that you hear around the way. It kind of builds a bit of like a mythos around some of the people that we work with on a daily basis. So when we're approaching these conversations, I always want to try to stay mindful of the journey that someone's taken to get to the point where they're sitting with us.
Right, exactly. Because, and it's like you say, well, and you've been an integral part of all this stuff. We've branched out from furniture. Now we're doing, day in the life with different designers, and we're bringing in a lot of different companies that we didn't do work with before. So, what I'm hoping with this podcast is, we're introducing maybe a furniture manufacturer with a designer that needs a need, has a need that to be met, so we can kind of bridge the gap.
I like that.
And, in doing that, we're on the forefront of everybody's, thoughts. And, well, we want to work with these guys because they're helping us get to another level.
Right.
And that's what we're hoping to help them with, and we're hoping, to be a part of all that.